Loyalty. What are we loyal to? According to the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary of Modern English, loyalty is being true and faithful to. Example, loyal subjects of the Queen. Loyalty in general use is a devotion and a faithfulness to a nation, a cause, a philosophy, a country, a group, a person. We are loyal to our country. If we are not, we are marked as traitors. We are loyal to our beliefs. We are loyal to our family. We are loyal voters, loyal customers, loyal companions, loyal friends. Loyalty is considered a virtue, and we praise it. At least that's what I thought until I started thinking, what about being loyal to unjust causes or totalitarian regimes? How virtuous is that? Is loyalty really a virtue, or is it just a rigid stand that fundamentally excludes critical thinking and can lead to atrocities in the name of a cause, or in the name of a flawed person, or an obsolete idea? And then I discovered that there are entire philosophical debates about loyalty, and I completely gave up because I'm not.
This isn't fair!
For this video, I will treat loyalty as a virtue. Loyalty at its purest, most innocent form. And although this might sound very bland, loyalty is reciprocal. Well, I believe so, anyway. To whatever or whoever we are loyal to, we do expect something in return. But even if we do expect something in return, the relationship is not really transactional because what we expect is not immediate. It's more like a trust in the future, a trust that the one we are loyal to is virtuous enough to be loyal back to us in the future. Yes, this whole intro was about an abandoned dog. A betrayed dog, if you like. Oh, he's happy. Now, dogs in need never come with perfect timing. In fact, they usually come with the worst timing ever. You're camping in the middle of nowhere. You've left a family member in the hospital. You're leaving for abroad tomorrow. You're broke. You're in the middle of a pandemic and there's a curfew. Basically, they usually come at a, oh no, not now, moment.
I think she said fair.
And he came at the ultimate, oh no, not now, moment of all times. He came up that night. I was frantically driving around, crying and screaming and posting flyers about my missing dog. There's an entire video on that story, but here's a quick recap. I was in the countryside with my 3 dogs, plus a very noisy, active puppy I had rescued a few weeks back, and having already set my eyes on another stray I was planning on taking back to Athens with me, living in a small cottage that isn't even mine. It's not my property, during a lockdown. My dog Apollo opened this gate using his nose. This gate weighs a ton, and you just have to take my word for it that he can open it with his nose. Here's his nose. Maybe that's more convincing than me just saying so. Anyway, I panicked. The Greek countryside is brutal to animals. I was already driving around for hours, crying my eyes out when I reached the junction in the middle of nowhere, past midnight, and there he was. And he ran to me as I stopped to put a flyer on a bin in the pouring rain. He ran to me as if he was saying, "You're here, you're finally here. Oh no, not now." He was basically still a puppy, maybe 9 months old, and had been abandoned right there, obviously. Had already been run over by a car that left him limping with a broken, wounded leg. I was just sitting there waiting because that's what dogs do when they're abandoned. You know? They wait. Loyalty. You see why when you talk about dogs, loyalty can only be portrayed as a virtue and nothing else. As the hours and days and the months go by, the loyal dog waits. He never stops waiting because he has put his trust in a future where you come back for him. And when you don't come back, you have betrayed. So for about 10 minutes I sat there with him under the rain, crying my eyes out. I've never felt more helpless in my life, although my helplessness was nothing compared to his, to be fair. I had a home to go back to, a car to take me there, and food waiting for me when I got back. He had nothing. He only had me. My defense mechanism had me pause for a minute and think, evaluate the situation. Can I afford to leave now and come back later? I decided that I could, so I left. And before your internal justice warrior starts typing, "What, you left him there? How could you?" A friendly reminder that this is a country where you bump into stray dogs in need just as often as you bump into pebbles on a rocky beach. There are millions. And if you lived here, you'd develop the same mechanism most people like me do, weighing options, etc. Unless you're 1 in a million, then you'd become a tackist, but you're not 1 in a million, and neither am I. So I continued my desperate search for my dog, which at this moment had reached the point where I was looking on the sides of the motorway thinking I'd probably come across his dead body. And a few hours later, during what was the sleeplessest night I've had in my life, I did come back to that junction with food. I came back the following morning also, and the following night. I'd leave food for him, ignore his invites for quality time he needed to spend with a human, take a look at his wounded leg, make sure there was no infection threatening his life, and go. I was every time surprised with his happiness, to be honest. I wasn't sure what to make of that. This went on for a few days, and the loyal, abandoned dog was now loyal to me. Always there, always waiting. In the meantime, I did find my dog badly bitten, infected, and utterly pissed. Phew. Now, to various friends and family, I would use this excuse. Yes, you need excuses here to justify your love for animals, and still they call you names. I believed it was a sign. The universe sent me this dog to remind me that if my missing dog was somewhere alone and hurt, wouldn't I want for a random stranger to stop and help him? No one could argue with that, which was of course false. The universe does not send signs. It couldn't care less, but my inner troll was laughing. Anyway, the thing with dogs is that their loyalty is instant. You feed them once and then they wait for you as if you've been feeding them forever. They don't just wait for the food though. That's what people misunderstand and devalue the loyalty to a simple opportunistic feeding skill. They wait for you and they're ready to give you their all. Everything they are is yours. If I just stopped going over there to feed him twice a day, he'd be waiting and waiting forever. Wouldn't that be the ultimate betrayal? And if any other random stranger passed by instead of me, while he was waiting, he would expect the same behavior. You see, it's unfair to narrow down any dog's loyalty to being faithful and true to one person, the owner, the caregiver. A dog's loyalty to a person is just one representation of the unbiased loyalty that dogs as a species show to the humans as a species, in general. Had I stopped my visits to that junction, which were perceived by that dog as a promise on my behalf that I'd keep coming back, the dog's loyalty to the entire human species would be betrayed. Again. The day of my departure was about to come, as our time in the countryside was coming to an end, and we would leave for the city not knowing when we would come back again. So one day I would pack up and leave, and my boy would be waiting and waiting. No, that was not an option. It was not an option that would allow me to sleep at nights. You see, since we perceive dogs' loyalty to humans as a virtue, any betrayal on our behalf comes with the conclusion that the dogs have been loyal for thousands of years to an unjust, unfair, disloyal, betraying piece of shit of a species. So honoring any dog's loyalty is a way for me to keep the moral worth of humans as just and deserving of loyalty. I do it for the soul of the human species. And in his case, honestly, that happiness was contagious, and I was at a point in my life where I just needed that. So I picked him up one morning. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's probably the remains of that first, oh no, not now, moment on my face. We went straight to the local vet, and then having 5 dogs, 3 of my own and 2 rescues, and a kitten in a house that's not even mine, with Apollo post-op, furious, hating life and everyone around him, I left my boy in the empty property next door. For the next couple of days, he would leave there on his own, just as he did by the side of the road, waiting for me to go feed him and spend some time with him twice a day. He didn't even try to escape. Escaping didn't even cross his mind. I decided that that's where he would stay, and he did. And every time I even glanced at him, he would wag his tail as if he was saying, "Hey, I'm here, hey, I'm happy, I love you." Again, loyalty, trust. He stayed put when he was abandoned. He stayed put and waited for me when I would go and feed him on the street. He stayed put in that empty property because he trusted me. He trusted my decision to leave him there. He never made a sound. He never complained. In fact, he looked happy. He always looked happy, even when he was shivering and starving all alone in that empty crossroad with a broken leg. Happy and loyal. I'm not sure what makes this dog happy, even when he's in the most depressing of situations. Maybe it's just his optimism. Maybe in his mind, every time life throws him a bone, he's convinced that he was right to be loyal to human because human does come back, as he expected him to. It was then, during the few minutes I would spend with him every day in that property, when I realized that he hadn't been abandoned by anyone. He had been abandoned by someone who took some time to teach him some basic things, like how to sit and lay down. That's it. Exactly. Bravo! Oh my. In early December, we left for the city. I had to hire a pet taxi to bring back the entire flock. I arranged for my puppy and my other rescue to be fostered by a friend, and I kept the kitten and my loyal boy because he needed treatment for the wound in his leg, and I wanted to make sure it would be done correctly. And again, I had to marginalize him. Having 2 dogs with the cone of shame at home, one of them being Apollo with a biting threshold at 0.0001%, was not an option, so my loyal boy had to stay upstairs on his own. And again, he did. And he never made a sound. He never complained. We would take our walks twice a day. I would feed him, spend some time with him, care for his wounded leg, and then leave. I would leave him alone again. Geez, this dog has been so alone. This living situation lasted for 2 weeks. Another thing I discovered was that my boy was house-trained. Not only that, he had been taught to expect a treat every time he pooped on a walk. Talk about training. Who the hell takes time to train a dog and make him social and loving and then leaves him in a junction in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the winter, in the middle of a pandemic? God damn you, human, making a bad name for all the rest of us humans. It was during these 2 weeks that I named him. I went through different names that would sound, that would sound okay, but I mean, look at the face. You can't pick any name that just sounds nice for that face. And it wasn't just the face, it was the attitude. It was the attitude of pure, ultimate innocence. This is a dog that has the innocence of a baby, and it's as if this is his first life ever, and he is all happy and excited and happy about it. He has a kind, loving, innocent heart. So I first called him Ari for a few days, and Ari became Marouli, which is like a nickname for someone named Ari, but who is still young and innocent and loving. And then Aruli became Marouli, which means lettuce in Greek, and is a word we use to describe the heart of someone who is extra kind, tender, and loving. Marouli heart. Kardia Marouliou. Perfect name for this dog. Now, although Marouli was happy in this living situation, I wasn't. He needed friends, and none of my dogs would be friends with him. And frankly, I don't think I was the best option for him. Not at that moment in my life, anyway. So I packed his bags and took him to the playground. The playground is a friend's house where more rescue dogs can stay than in my 2-bedroom apartment. Another big change for Marouli. Many dogs, when I first take them there, are a bit overwhelmed, but not Marouli. Marouli is loyal, remember? And Marouli's loyalty, once again, dictated that the decision I made for him to take him somewhere he had never been before was the best option for him. He just trusted me. Oh, he trusts anyone. He's just that type of dog. He's now loyal to his new living conditions. He's once again happy. Always happy. It's as if he's saying, I knew my loyalty would pay off. Humans are a virtuous cause that I chose to be loyal to. And he trusts that his current living condition, which is arranged by humans, is the best it could be for him. So he has friends, he sits for a treat, and he looks at you right in the eye, waiting for the next choice you'll make for him, that he knows it's going to be the best choice. 'Cause you're a human. Is the next thing you choose to do for him another treat? Is it a cuddle? Is it a kind word? What is it? He plays, he sniffs around, he runs and he limps when he gets too tired, but he owns that limp as part of his story, as part of his past, part of his humanity. And then he goes back to his space, that space we chose for him, which is for his own good, because it's dangerous that he's left unattended around so many dogs. His life has been becoming better and better and better and better every time. It's like constant progression, constant growth. And Marouli, as a loyal follower of the human's decisions, can sense that progression. Not once have we failed him. Every time he's in a new situation, he thinks, well, this must be it. It's so much better than before. This must be it. Now I, as human queen, as a cause with loyal followers, I can see my subject's satisfaction. I could keep him in any of the previous situations and his current one, and he would never know what I know, that there's better. There's better than where he is now. He doesn't know that. I do. If I am just and virtuous and want to be deserving of his loyalty, I will try for even better. The ultimate move that will crown humanity as a virtuous cause all dogs are being loyal to will be, on my behalf, to offer even more to this one dog, especially now when he is least expecting it. And this way I will become the loyal one and trust another human. I will believe another human when he promises me the future. A future where Marouli Lettuce Heart will be living happily ever after in a situation in which he will again be thinking, well, this must be it. But in which case also, this time around, this will really be it. It will be a home, and I will put my trust on another human and hope that he does make a good name for all of us in the human species, in the eyes of this one dog that represents all dogs.
I gave my heart to a stranger. Father, forgive me for it, but I don't want it back. If this pain is what it means to have it, then I'd rather be without it. Gave away my heart to a stranger. If time has been the bow, why the years go by so slow, as if it wants to remember. All the mistakes, foreign places, bitter taste, and all the lonely days. Try to stay upright, but it all went wrong.